So, guys, I'm sitting here listening. I'm sitting here watching movies, and I heard about this movie, The Tinder Swindler, and I hadn't watched it. I'm just now watching it now. I guess it's probably, I don't know, 2 3 months old at this point, um, on Netflix, and I'm watching this movie. And now, mind you, I have seen, like, I'm very interested in those little shows and like little documentaries where they talk about um, these guys and these cons and things like that who con, older women and, you know, old rich widow women and things like that, out of money and things like that. And I mean, women do it too, I suppose. I haven't really heard of any with women, but I know women must do it too, with rich men. Um, but I'm really fascinated by that, and I like to watch it for educational purposes because the educational purpose is that many of us are online, and these cons, these scams, these schemes come by us all the time. And I mean, everybody probably got a story, which is the reason I made this video, because I'm looking at this. I'm not even finished with the Tinder swindler yet, but so many red flags hit me as I'm beginning to I'm like 8 9 minutes in. I'm not even 10 minutes in, and she's describing the stuff that happened, how she met this particular guy. Um, and it's so many red flags. It's so many red flags off the jump. Um, the first thing is this man, and then I'll go into my little story I wanted to tell. But the first thing is this man being so rich, and you see him with these jets and these um at these parties and champagne, and yeah, this particular guy, I guess he was saying he was a diamond son of a diamond, uh I don't know, heir, I guess. I don't really remember. um but yeah, and it's just like, okay, here's the first thing I'm gonna think. Because I can say now, I'm telling you, once again, being from the South, being from the hood, and maybe just me and my own life experiences, I have to say I haven't really been like really swindled or really taken advantage of, things like that, because I don't trust. And I don't know if that's good or not, but I don't trust. And so I asked a lot of questions, which I've had guys tell me, "Oh, you asked too many questions." I had another guy tell me before, "I think too much." And so, with that being the case, I'm just looking at this thing, and I'm just like, as soon as she put her, basically, like, to message him or whatever, she said this guy answered like immediately. That's a red flag. That's a complete red flag. Like, come on. A guy this supposedly busy, a guy this just jet setting and going around, he just sitting around, just what, waiting on Tinder, just waiting for somebody to send a message. You gonna a message back that quick? Um, what was the other red flag? I saw so many mistakes that this woman did. This woman went like immediately to go visit this guy and all this kind of stuff. And even though she did visit him and things like that, and tickets were purchased, and they did fly places and all this, like, I don't know if this woman was paying for herself or if he was supposedly paying for her, because I guess to keep the scheme going, he had to spend some money. You know what I'm saying? Maybe on credit, maybe on other women's money. Like I say, I haven't finished the show yet. But those are just red flags. The guy, in her opinion, was very handsome, nice looking. I mean, he wasn't necessarily ugly, wasn't my type at all. But so you got a rich guy, busy, jet setting, going to this meeting, doing this, going to Norway, going to London, going to all of this kind of stuff. And it just to me seems too good to be true. And he's all handsome and he got all these fine designer clothes. And I mean, and I'm not saying it like for a woman not to feel like, she's beautiful or whatever enough to catch this guy. But you gotta come on and be like, man, okay, now what do you want with me? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it like that, but I'm saying it like, what's your motive? Like, what do you really want? Because everybody wants something from somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am. It's not the time to introduce about this woman, but I have been listening to this absolutely brilliant woman who is beginning to break down male psychology, beginning to break down men's whole, just completely changing the game. And she's a godsend. She really, really is a godsend because she is exposing so much. It's a lot of stuff that I and many other women are coming out and saying, like, I thought that, I figured that, I had an inkling of that, or, I've said that to myself. But it's like she puts it in a way to where she breaks it down and she just says it. And it's just like, and I've even written to her and told her, like, these are things that I've always thought, but it was so crazy. It sounds so far out there until, because I've been called crazy anyway. But it's like, it was so crazy until it's like, I have second guessed myself. And I think that's what happened to a lot of women. You get these inklings, you get these feelings and things like that about men and even about situations, but it just seems so crazy. Like, why would somebody do this? Why would somebody live like they like? Why would somebody, And so, but I brought her up and I said that to say, it's giving me like a whole, it's confirming a lot of the things that I've always believed and said that would just, like I said, seem so far out there. But even with that new knowledge, it's like these men are not coming to you because they want to love you and take care of you and be with you. And it seemed like it's always a game, a con, a wanting something from you, needing something from you. Just it's always an agenda. Whereas women have for so long, they're looking for family and looking for love and looking for fairy tale and looking for all of these wonderful things. And there's a lot of men who just out there just playing the game, telling you what you want to hear, giving you what you want to see, showing you what you want. And, you know, getting back to this lady for just a second, she's beginning to break that veil and really show women and break down male psychology to where she's showing women that that's not always their purpose. And I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to leave it there. Um, but at the end of the day, you know, it's always it's always for something. They're not approaching you to love you, start a life, start a family, whatever. I'm not saying that those things can't eventually happen. I'm not saying that at all, that it can't eventually happen. But I'm just talking about, especially the way a lot of the guys now today operate. That's not what they want. That's not what they want. But the story, my situation, as I'm watching that, it takes me back to this particular guy. This was a few years ago, and um, it was a guy first of all from Africa, and well, I take that back. I didn't even know he was originally from Africa. I actually, after I started doing my research and investigating him, I realized he was African. But he didn't say that. I didn't hear him talk or anything because we didn't. Did we ever talk on the phone? I don't know. I don't remember if I think we did. And I could hear a bit of an accent, but it wasn't like real heavy. It's almost like he was trying to like hide it. But he was an okay looking guy. I mean, he wasn't like honestly necessarily my type, but he wasn't an ugly guy. He was, tall. He, was in shape and the whole thing. And but he just wasn't like ooh, I gotta have him. Ooh, he cute. It wasn't that for me. But anyway, um, I can't say at the moment I really remember where we even met. Probably something online back at that time. Um, but he would contact me through WhatsApp, and like I don't have a lot of contacts or really know a lot of people and stuff like that on WhatsApp. So my WhatsApp is like really like two, three people. You know, I don't do a lot of talking and stuff on there. But I do notice a lot of people that are foreign or from different places and stuff like that use WhatsApp. And so, anyway, long story short, this guy gave me this story. He was a young man. Can't remember exactly how old, but he was a young man. He said he was in military. So he sent me like a picture of him like in some military fatigues, I think. And then like him dressed up or whatever, sunglasses on and things like that. And so this guy basically tells me this story that he is in the military. He's at a secret location. He could not tell me where he was. He could only call me like at certain times, certain days because he was really busy and he was in the military and they like moved around, jumped around, went to different places. So like he couldn't like call me all the time. Thought that was funny. I thought that was like, okay. So what else did he tell me? He started off like this Tindler swindler thing with the baby and the oh, how are you? And I miss you. And, how are you doing? And I mean, just really laying it on thick. Like, I ain't even know this dude and I'm already baby. Like, I'm already honey within 2 or 3 days. And, he's calling and texting and all of this kind of stuff. Not necessarily calling on WhatsApp. I think what it was is that we chatted on WhatsApp. Um, but yeah. So, of course, I couldn't call the number back that he was calling from because it was secret. And then I think he even told me that like his phone didn't work in certain places, certain areas of where they were on this top secret mission. But that he was using his sergeant's phone and things like that just to call me and all this kind of stuff. And long story short, where the swindle began, because I was kind of just like, okay, because I wasn't into him like that really. Like he was really laying it on thick and really just whatever, like how this guy got there and just really swept that woman off her feet. But in all honesty, I think that guy swept that woman off her feet because she was impressed with his money. I think that lifestyle that she saw lured her and kind of what led her into getting swindled, if you ask me. Because like I say, my thing is going to be you're this gorgeous billionaire son and you got all I mean, you're jet skiing all of it. Like what you sitting around on Tinder for? Like, what do you want me like why are you like do you need a woman? Like if you're in this type of lifestyle, like why are you on here trying to get like that's just a red flag to me. And so with this guy, you know, I was not impressed with him with the whole, baby and oh, you so beautiful and all this. I wasn't impressed with all of that because I didn't like him like that. I mean, he was okay. Like he was just doing too much too soon before I even like really even liked him like that. If it ever came to a point of me liking him at all, really. But I talked to him because, I was bored, wasn't nothing else to do. And so this guy's hustle was, let me see if I got it exactly right. This guy's hustle was, I think he was asking for my address, I think, because he wanted to send me some checks. Like he was saying that they were his paychecks. They were like his military money. And because he was out in the field and everything, like he had all this money, like just stacking up, stacking up, stacking up. And he can't cash these checks, like out in the places where he was. And so he was like, he wanted to forward the checks to me and for me to cash them. And I think like put them in my bank account or was he gonna, I think he said something about he was gonna like set up some type of account or something to get the money and for me to wire the money. I don't. It was some kind of something like that he was saying, and I mean, here's what I'm thinking because I'm listening to this stuff, and I mean, right off the bat, as soon as he started talking about money and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh shit, you finna scam. First of all, I don't want this to sound bad or whatever, but a lot of our African brothers and sisters are very good, especially those in Nigeria, with scams and with things like that. I mean, they good with. I mean, they're known for that, and that's not a shot at nobody African or anything like that. Like I don't. That's not a shot. That's maybe a stereotype, but it's a stereotype that's out there, that's real, and that is pretty legitimate. And so, with that said, um, that was one of my criteria to know that this dude is scamming and faking. And then the fact, I mean, then like you all like me that much that fast, and I'm baby honey and sugar and all this, and the despite the fact that you don't even know me and you're trusting me to cash your checks, like dude, like you don't even know me, like what? Because I remember I asked him, I'm like, now I know it's a con, but I'm asking this dude, like, where your family at? I'm like, why you can't get no family? Then on top of that, I'm looking at the fact of I was married to a military man. I know your stuff come on card. Like your stuff come on a on this VA card. Like you get, I forgot what it is, but it was a card that his military benefits would come on. And I'm like, ATMs are all over the world. What do you mean, like, you just got all these checks that you can't cash? Like, that doesn't even sound right, you know? And so I knew dude was trying to get me hooked up in some type of check fraud, something gonna completely mess me up. And it would just, it's sad how many lonely hearts and how many lonely women fall for these type of scams and things like this. But I knew right off the bat it was some bullshit. I knew it was some fraud. I knew it was some, and he just kept, oh no, 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 it's for real. This real. These checks have my name on them and blah blah blah. And then I'm just like, no, dude, no, like I don't even know you like that. Like why would you trust me like that? That's the same thing I see in this Tinder swindler thing. Like she coming out talking about how this guy was so upfront with her and he gave her all this information and she felt like she knew him. And like, come on, dudes don't be trying to share nothing with you. Like all dudes do is lie. Like men or not coming out opening up to women telling you about their family and, oh, I have a child and I got, man, come on, that's a fairy tale. That's not true. And I'm just being honest. I as at my age now here today, I don't remember too many men ever in my life that have just come out straight out the gate telling me some real serious, real true stuff about themselves and their family. Like dudes are trying to hide stuff. Like well, now what they do is they try to know everything about you. That's one thing I notice about a lot of guys. They want to know everything about you. And because we women talk so much, give so much, trying to find love and trying to be so upfront and open, we tell them all the beans. Like we tell them everything. They know all of it. But we know we really don't know that much about a lot of these guys and these dudes. They tell us based on what we can told them what we want to hear. That's really how they go. So you guys, this ain't gonna be no long video. I wanted to throw that out there about the time when, you know, I this guy tried it with me. Like, I haven't had many of those. I really haven't. I really have not had like a lot of that, a lot of those. But yeah, man, you come on, you not gonna pass no checks to somebody that you don't know and talking about cashing them for the come on, dude. That's some straight scam. That's some straight scam. And I pray women wise up. Stop leading with your heart of love and emotion like that. Like for real. We really have to stop that. We really have to start using our head, start using our mind. Because women are smart. We are very smart. And usually our intuition tells us, and it's usually that intuition that we ignore. Oh, but he said this and he sound like this. And my personal thing was always, why would somebody do that? Like the thing that always would get me hooked up and tied up in a bad situation is me not believing that somebody would do what they were doing because I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't think that way. Like I wouldn't be thinking to try to scam and hurt somebody and cause all this harm and detriment into their lives and like just don't even give a shit. Like I couldn't imagine somebody else doing some stuff like that. But like that's gone. Like that part of my personality, naivety, whatever, that is so far gone and in the trash. I don't put anything past anybody at this point in time in life. I don't put nothing past nobody. If it can be thought of, it can be done. It can be done. No, I may not do it. No, I wouldn't do it. But man, the treachery that's in some people's heart, the level of I don't give a fuck about people that is in people's heart is just it's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I remember I remember it matter of fact, it might have been a sermon that I was listening to where this preacher said, and I think it was TD Jakes, honestly. I think he said how naive you are. You got to be really, really naive to think that people won't do you a certain way because you wouldn't do it. And I'm just like, man, that's really deep. Like that's really wow. But it does. It puts you in a certain little box, in your certain little world, in your certain little closed, tight knit community of not looking at the real world and not looking at reality and just seeing and doing things and looking at things from your little sheltered part of the world. And that's something I've had to learn over the years to get out of. Like I've had to purposely take myself out of the box. Things that I didn't want to see, things that I didn't want to know about, things that I didn't want to discover. I have had to make myself look at it, go into it, find out about it, understand it because other people are out here doing that shit. Like for real. Like people are, and what you don't know, oh my God, it can hurt you. What you don't know, what you're not exposed to, what you don't understand. Oh my God, men have been using that for so long to get over on women. So long. And so that's what I'm saying. Like at this point in my life, I am exploring different things. I'm finding out about new things. I'm even going back into a bunch of old things, old ways of doing stuff and stuff like that. And I'm opening up my mind and I'm opening up my reality to realize that, man, this mess is out here, like for real. And how long people have been scamming and hurting people and how long men have been getting over on women. We got to know. We got to know because it's what we have not known and have not been allowing ourselves to even believe that has been our downfall in so many times, so many instances. It's us looking through that narrow lens of love and that narrow lens of, oh, I want a family. Oh, I want a man to love me. Or I want a relationship like this. I want a that. I want a that. And it pushes us to in so many ways live in a fantasy, live in a reality that's not really real. And so men come along and just hop right on in the basket with us and follow that fantasy right on out. But they don't be feeling like we be feeling. Like they don't be in no fantasy world, whatever, like how we live in old happy ever after, love songs, wine and champagne. And I'm not saying that, you know, let me put this like this. It's a whole other level, transcendence of love and of really getting to even begin scratch the surface of love that so many men out here are not even they're not even trying to get there. So yeah, I could say this stuff with no conviction. I can absolutely say, these things with no conviction. Guys, leave a comment, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you'll know each time I uh, I upload a video. But I would love to hear if you guys have been scammed like that, or if somebody tried to come to you like that, and not even just trying to scam you out of money, scamming you out of love, like scamming you out of out of your heart, just feeding you some straight bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I think it's important that we as women share these stories and get these messages out because these guys right now are going to be trying a whole lot of stuff to get to women, and many of them are not sincere. They're not. This change that I talked about in the previous video of things that are going to begin to change, you still got to be very careful because a lot of these men are just conning, they're manipulating, they're not out of that mindset just because Kevin Samuels dead. They're not out of that mindset. So be careful, be vigilant, keep your eyes and your ears open, and handle them with handle spoons. Like don't trust so easy. Do not trust so easy because a lot of them are looking to see what they can get out of women, how it can benefit them. Looking for a place to stay, looking for a nurse, looking for, somebody to cook for them and take care of them and pay their child. I mean, they're still out here looking for that. So don't get scammed, ladies. Don't get scammed. You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And until the next video, we'll see you next time.